On August 14, the Taliban occupied Afghanistan and declared the establishment of the government in line with the withdrawal of US troops. The early defeat of the Taliban has given a clear impression that the United States has abandoned Afghanistan. Taking advantage of this, China insists that
Taiwan will be like Afghanistan because it depends on the United States for national defense.
the Taiwanese government replied.
Corrupted Afghanistan is different from Taiwan.
On the contrary, what about Japan? Japan established a self-defense force after the war, but it is developing its defense capabilities based on the Japan-U.S. alliance. Unfortunately, the current self-defense force cannot defend one of Japan's remote islands on its own. Or JSDF can only sustain a few days before the US military comes to support. This time I will talk about whether Japan can hope for that support. In conclusion, Japan will not be abandoned at the present situation, excluding the element of the need for Japan's defense. There are three political, military, and legal conditions. The first is the idea of President of the United States at that time. Article 2 of the United States Constitution states that the President is the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Army and Navy and the militaries of each state convened to actually serve in the United States military service, admitting the President is the Commander-in-Chief. Therefore, the President's decision is absolutely necessary to invoke the Japan-U.S. Security Treaty in order to help Japan. On the flip side, if the President of the United States is anti-Japanese like Moon Jae-in, the President is very likely to abandon. The second is the military situation in the United States and China. This is influenced by the capabilities and placement of weapons in the United States and China. For example, suppose China occupies Taiwan, the Senkaku Islands, and turns them into military bases. Then anti-aircraft and anti-ship and surface-to-ground missiles will reach the area around Okinawa, and Chinese submarines and ships will always roam the area. In other words, China has always maintained its air and maritime dominance. If that happens, the US Army and Marine Corps, let alone the Air Force and Navy, will be inaccessible, and it will be difficult to proceed with the operation unless considerable sacrifices is made from the beginning. It will change daily depending on mutual capacity improvement and deployment status, but it will be a big factor for the US military to abandon Japan. Finally, there is a legal issue. If you are familiar with military to some extent, the Japan-U.S. alliance will not work without approval of US Congress. You may have heard that. It's half true and half false. According to the War Powers Resolution enacted in November 1973, parliamentary approval must be obtained within 60 days of the introduction of troops. In addition, the period can be extended by 30 days if necessary under the assumption that the force will be withdrawn. In other words, US force can fight for up to 90 days only with the authority of the President. How can they fight for 90 days in modern warfare, which is carried out with long-range, high-precision, and powerful weapons, without knowing the post-World War II, especially for small islands? What I want to say is that unless this War Powers Resolution is amended, the present authority can basically wage war. So public opinion and the congressional approval of American people will not have a vital effect. This time I did not mention that need for the United States to protect Japan. But if this need disappears, of course the three conditions introduced will be meaningless.